He's one of the founders of the 80s band XYZ and is also the current lead singer of Great White. Plus, he has a new solo album with fresh takes on some rock classics. Our guest this week is Terry Ilous on the VVN Music Podcast. Hi, and welcome to episode 38 of the VVN Music Podcast. I'm Roger Wenk, and this week we have a very interesting interview with French rocker Terry Ilous. While Ilous was born in France, he first found fame in the United States with musical partner Patt Fontaine and their band XYZ. That band, which was initially together from 1986 to 1992, recorded 2 studio albums and have recorded 2 more since reforming in 2002. In 2010, Terry stepped in for Jack Russell in Great White for a couple of shows, and a year later, when Russell formed his own version of the group, Ilous became their permanent lead singer. And then there's his solo career. Terry is releasing a brand new album, Gypsy Dreams, via digital retailers this Friday, April 28th, and later in May on CD. This is a really well done and interesting album that covers some of the great songs of the rock canon, but in a very different way. Instead of straight covers, Ilous has formed a band to put a unique Latin and Flamenco feel to the arrangements. It's masterfully done in a way that changes, but doesn't overpower the greatness of the songs. We talked to Terry from his home in Southern California. Yeah, where are you located? Are you in Los Angeles right now?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles. And it's a beautiful day here. It's about 82 degrees today. Something like that, so 79.
Well, I wish I could say the same. I'm in Rochester, New York, and it's about 55 and cloudy and raining. So,
well, 55 for you guys, it's like summertime.
Well, that's true. But in the battle of the weathers, you win.
Did you guys have a bad winter? Was it a cold winter or not? Not really.
We didn't have a bad winter until right around the second week in March, when we had winds of over 80 miles an hour that knocked out about half the electricity up here. And then it followed 4 days later with 2 feet of snow. We thought we were going to get through the winter with no problem at all, and all of a sudden we got clobbered.
2 feet of snow, man, that's a lot. I'm not a big fan of the cold, I have to be honest with you.
Well, people say that here in Rochester, and I like to point out that we don't get hurricanes, we don't get tornadoes, and we're not on an earthquake belt. So I'll take the cold.
And you had Lou Gramm from Rochester, New York.
Yep, and also Eddie Brigati from the Rascals was from Rochester also.
Well, here you go. So, you got to say, what else can we say? I remember playing Rochester years ago with XYZ, and we arrived in someone said to me, do you know that in this particular city, Lou Gramm was born here? Yeah, we were touring with a Foreigner, actually. And Lou Gramm was no longer with a Foreigner at the time. He left the band.
Lou Gramm still lives here.
He does. I'm a huge Lou Gramm fan.
He and his brother had a band for a little bit. They were kind of dabbling with religious music for a little bit. And then he also has a band now that he goes out solo with. Yeah,
I know we are. Yeah. I mean, I love Lou Gramm. He's one of my all-time favorite singers. I mean, him and a few others, but he is just purely an amazing singer. I mean, so much soul, I mean, what's not to like about his voice? He's just brilliant,
And he's still got it.
Yeah, I mean, despite what happened to him, unfortunately, his health issue and everything, he's just amazing. He's just an amazing singer. He's got so much soul. I remember once he emailed me out of the blue, which is freaking, I was blown away. I received an email from him because at the time they were looking for, Foreigner was looking for replacement. That was before Kelly joined the band. And I was able to audition for the band, and I didn't get the gig. Obviously I didn't get the gig, but what happened is I didn't sound enough like Lou. I didn't want to be like Lou. In fact, I've always loved him. I love his voice. I just wanted to be myself. And Mick Jones sent me a nice message. Mick said, well, you did a great job, but we're going to pass because we looking for something else. Well, I realized later on that he was looking for someone that would sound just like Lou. You know, he ended up getting Kelly, and Kelly's doing a wonderful job. I mean, he's such a great singer. He sounds just like Lou, which is great. That's what they were looking for. But anyway, long story short, Lou Gramm sent me a message, and he said, "I heard you auditioned for Foreigner." I said, yeah, and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, you know, Lou Gramm. And I replied nicely. I said, I didn't get the gig. He said, yeah, I know. I said, I didn't get the gig because I don't sound like you. I have my own sound, and I don't think that's what they were looking for. And he said, that's good. I appreciate that, actually. I was like, wow, okay. So he was happy that I didn't sound like him. I mean, for me, Lou is just such an amazing singer. I mean, some of his songs is just like phenomenal, you know. Some of the singers of the 70s for me were better than singers of today's singers, to be honest with you, You know, 70s and 80s singers were better.
I think they had a better knowledge of what music came before them. I think that music during the 60s and 70s, when you listen to radio, you would get a mix of rock, soul, country, and everything, and they had all the influences, where today things are so generic and so homogenized that I don't think people hear the music that they need to really be able to round out their sound.
You know, what you're saying is so true, and you said it very, very, very well. Nowadays, everybody sounds alike. I don't hear, like, I watch American Idol sometimes, or some of these shows, you know. All the singers sound alike. They're all great singers, by the way. I've never heard a bad one. They're all wonderful singers, but Jesus Christ, they don't have that sound where you listen to those guys from the 60s and 70s, Lou Gramm, Steve Perry, all those cats. You know, they had something because they, as you said, they grew up listening to different things, not just a copycat of themselves. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, if every day you eat ice cream, like vanilla ice cream, well, then you're going to sound, your favorite thing is going to be vanilla ice cream, you know, but you don't know about pistachio, you don't know about anything else, you know. In the 60s, music was better. As far as I'm concerned, 60s and 70s were the best era ever. Well, I mean, the 50s had some great stuff with Elvis and all the rock and roll era, you know, Buddy Holly and all those guys. But nowadays, singers have lost that special thing, that sound. They all sound alike for me, and you know, and in the 90s, they all sounded like pirates. You know what I mean? This is like, I hated all those singers in the 90s. I'm like, oh God, they're horrible. I mean, I wouldn't say horrible. I shouldn't say that. I said, not my cup of tea. How about that?
Your new album, I am quite amazed by it. I think it's a great album, and the thing is that I get copies of different artists trying to do cover albums and so forth, and half of them could be just playing karaoke, and what you've done is pretty amazing, because you've added the Latin sound into these classic rock songs, and it works really well.
Thank you. Well, first of all, as we said, I grew up listening to the 60s and 70s. I'm a child of that era, you know. I'm an old cat. I'm not afraid to say it, you know. So it's just like, I grew up listening to, believe it or not, I grew up listening to Motown. Okay, my favorite singers back then was James Brown, Sam Cooke, Teddy Pendergrass, Ray Charles, of course. I mean, and then I moved on to rock. But if you think about it, most of the singers, like people like Steve Perry, actually listen to the same thing. We all listen to the Sam Cooke and the Teddy Pendergrass and those, the OJs and all those guys. I mean, I know I sound like an old man when I say that, but it's the truth. You know, these were the roots for me. You know, the early roots too, what the Faces or stuff. You know, which was a little bit later, like the 70s. But there is no way, for me, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way we do a song to like it's been done by somebody else, and the gonna be better than the original artist unless you give it your own twist. And even that, the song's not gonna be better. It's gonna be different. You know, why redo a song that's been done by somebody else? Why redo the song exactly the way it was done? What do you expect to achieve? I mean, take an example. For example, Joe Cocker. I don't know if you like Joe Cocker, but I do. Joe Cocker was brilliant. Well, when he sang at Woodstock, with a little help from my friends, he blew away everybody because he came up with something different. And people were like, oh my God, I love that version. And now when I listen to Ringo Starr, I think it was Ringo singing that song, I'm like, God, that sounds so weird. It's not like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I hate it. I have to be honest with you. I don't like it. I like the Joe Cocker's version better.
It's a difference between kind of a poppy version versus a very strong soul version.
Oh my God! In fact, I was watching the documentary on Netflix on the life of Joe Cocker. Oh my God, what an amazing singer! I mean, oh my God. So, yeah. So thanks for telling me this. I mean, definitely my new album is not it's something different. Put it this way, it's something I wanted to do.
Of all the directions you could have gone with trying to recreate these songs and to make them your own, not to use an American Idol phrase, but
cookie cutter, yeah.
How did you make the decision to go with just a little bit of Latin sound?
I was born in Europe. My dad was from Spain, from Spain, Barcelona. And when I was a kid, my parents used to take me to watch, to enjoy watching those flamenco dancers and flamenco guitar players. We were 10, 11 years old. In Europe, we used to go to restaurants to dinner with our family members, and you could watch the dancers, you could hear the flamenco guitar players and everything. And my dad was a guitar player. My dad was a jazz / flamenco, I wouldn't say flamenco, but he loves that kind of music, And through my dad, I discovered all that type of music, Latin music, with the Brazilian rhythm, the Brazilian style and everything. My dad used to tell me, you need to listen with your heart, not with your ears. Can you feel the music? I said, oh yeah, Dad, I think I can, So I always loved Latin music, pure Latin or Santana style or whatever, I always loved that stuff, And then when it was time to record my album, I was playing around with my acoustic guitar and then just came out naturally. I was like, oh my God, that's the sound I'm looking for. And that was it.
What did you do as far as bringing together a band of musicians who also had a background in that style of music?
Well, I was lucky enough to be invited to do a cruise called the Mountains of Rock. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's a big rock and roll cruise. A lot of yeah. So Larry Moran used to be my ex manager and invited me to perform. He said, "Can you go and with your band?" At the time it was XYZ. He said, "Was XYZ?" Yeah. He said, "Could you perform?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be happy to perform." And I noticed a couple of musicians, Luis Villegas and Ben Woods. And Mike Bennett on cajon, which is a little thing that you play on like the drums, They were doing metal songs like Iron Maiden and everything, but doing it the flamenco style, but more like respecting the way the songs were written. They didn't change anything, just used acoustic guitars. And I told them, I said, I'd love to jam with you guys, And Louis said, yeah, what do you want to do? I said, Heaven and Hell. And he said, Heaven and Hell? I said, yes, how are we going to do that? I said, I don't know, I just feel it. So I picked up my guitar, we started jamming, and he looked at me and said, yeah, I think we should do it. So this very same night, I got announced to do a song with those guys, and the audience was so mesmerized and so I wouldn't say, I don't want to be pretentious, I'm just saying that the audience was surprised. Okay, would be a better word. The audience was very surprised with that sound, and I was surprised by how much they love it. They love the performance. So immediately I said to the guys, hey, would you like to do an album? And they said yes. But unfortunately, it took 5 years to put that together. Time flies. I was touring with Great White. They were touring on their own. Life goes on. I got a kid. I got a family, I'm married, so, and 5 years later, I decided to get the guys together and say, okay, guys, I got the money, and now let's record the album. And here we are today.
That's great. I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said a few minutes ago that they were doing respectful versions of the songs, because I do feel that way about the album, that you've kept this enough of the songs that you're respectful of the originals and yet gave it this great twist.
Thank you. Well, I only have respect. I mean, the songs I've covered, I mean, I have tremendous respect for the artist that wrote those songs. I have to tell you that. I mean, I'm a huge Don Henley fan. I think he's brilliant. I love Peter Gabriel. I love Ronnie James Dio. I love all those guys. Not only I love them, but I respect them so much for what they have achieved, you know. So I wanted to re-record those songs, you know, be respectful, but also give it my own twist. That's all.
And, you know, when I was first going through the track list before I actually heard the album, I was curious as to what process you went through to pick the songs, because you had things like Heaven and Hell and Whole Lotta Love, yeah. And then you also had Christopher Cross's Ride Like the Wind, which, by the way, works perfectly on that album.
It does. Thank you. Well, you and I are, the same era probably. So we grew up listening to Christopher Cross. That song was, I don't know if you remember when that song came out.
Oh, definitely.
I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, I was a kid when that song came out, and I was like, oh my God, that song is brilliant. And I love the ending, the guitar solo and everything, and I love his voice. So, I picked up the guitar and I asked Louis, my guitar player, and Jose, I said, what can we do with that particular song? And my musicians are just, I have to tell you, they're really talented. And they said, how about that? And I said, oh my God, this is it. That was it. It came out actually very easy. It was very easy to put those songs together, very, very easy, Did
you do a lot of arranging in the studio, or had you worked most of it out before you got to the studio?
We got together twice. We did 2 rehearsals, and that was it. And then we went into the studio and we recorded everything live. We didn't have the only thing I didn't record live was not vocals, because sound-wise and performance-wise, I wanted to have something that was more, I didn't say I'm very picky, but I just, I take my time. I'm very slow when I record my vocals, I have to tell you that. Very, very slow. And very picky. But everything was done live. We just get together twice. Hey, how does that feel? That feels right. It feels right. Okay, good. I'm a child of the improvisation. Do you know what I mean? I believe it's very important to improvise in life. You can't just overthink stuff, especially when it comes to music. So we got together twice, and I said, let's go and record the stuff. We went to Simon Phillips' studio. Simon Phillips is the drummer for the band Toto. And Simon said, yeah, you can use my studio. And we looked at each other and said, you know what to do? No. Well, let's do it anyway, see what's going to happen. We did the song. We recorded the song, I think, 3 times each. Each song was recorded 3 times, and that was it. And after that, I said, okay, it sounds great, guys. See you in a few months. And that was it.
It's amazing the number of artists that I've talked to, and especially in recent months for some reason, that are doing more live in the studio recording. In other words, everybody at once versus doing separate parts. They have all said that they do it because they feel that it gives a much more immediate and real sound.
Absolutely. It's just like music is a feeling. You have to feel that. You know what I mean? It's an emotion. You know what I mean? So you play, you sing, and you look at your guitar player, and you can hear his sound and his facial expression and everything. All that is actually it makes you want to react a certain way. It makes you want to sing a certain way, play a certain way. So I think in the 80s, we could not record live. The record companies used to tell us, oh, you have to record one by one, and you have to sound like this way and that way. But in the 70s and the 60s, those cats were recording everything live, my friend. I mean, look, Led Zeppelin recorded their entire album in less than, I think it was 3 days. The entire album. Mixed, everything recorded in 5 days. I mean, the first Zeppelin album, 5 days. That's a freaking classic, man.
I know a lot of people. Paul Rogers did an album of Memphis R&B songs, and he went into the studio down in Memphis and did it all live with the musicians.
Yeah,
there's a new album that's, I think, coming out this Friday with, believe it or not, Bare Naked Ladies and the a cappella group The Persuasions.
Okay.
They've recorded an album together, and again, they did it live in the studio because they wanted the immediacy of it.
Yeah, I have to tell you something about recording. And many artists, they do what they copy and paste. I mean, they would be recording a verse. No, here's the guitar. No. Okay, done. Let's copy that to the next verse. Oh, really? Why do that? I mean, copy and paste meaning you're losing the emotion, just repeating what you just did. Back in the days in the 80s, when I used to record my choruses for a song like Inside Out or whatever, we were not allowed to copy and paste. I mean, we had to sing chorus number 1, chorus number 2, chorus number 3. We had to do that. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's copy and paste. Or we got it. We got one chorus, then we got all the choruses. I hate that. Hey,
was there any songs that you recorded and got left behind, or that you wanted to record for this album?
Yes, it's like there's one song that didn't make it. It's a Ronnie James Dio song, like a rainbow in the dark. Yeah, like a rainbow in the dark. We gave it a salsa Cuban vibe, believe it or not. My guitar player came up with the arrangement, Luis, and it's fantastic. We just, for some reasons, we had too many Dio songs. I said, we have to cut one. So that was the one. But if we get the chance to do another album, this one is ready to go. What I have to do is record the vocals, and that was it. I'm ready to go.
Are the folks that played with you on the album, are they going to be going out on tour with you?
Some of them, yes. Well, they all have very busy schedules because they all tour with all kinds of well-known artists and stuff. One of my percussionists plays with Michael McDonald all the time, so whenever he's not on tour with Michael McDonald, then he would be maybe doing things with me. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, they all want to tour with me, and I want to tour with them. So most likely, that particular crew, that particular album, that particular crew will be touring with me. Yes. They're great players. I mean, they're very talented musicians. My guitar player Luis is a Grammy-nominated guitar player. The other one, Jose Garcia, is a very well-known Latin, Spanish singer, guitar player. So, and Chris, of course, Chris Trujillo, the percussionist, has played with everybody from Chaka Khan to the Black Crowes to Toto to. So those guys are well-known cats. We're not talking billionaires here, They're old as fuck, but they're great.
So you have this album coming out. You're also still have XYZ, and you're also still heading up Great White. How do you find the hours in the day to make all of this fit together?
Well, I find the time. I do other things. I have a family as well, so that takes a lot of my time. Music is a passion to me. It's a wonderful experience. I'm living my dream. I mean, it's amazing. My life has been amazing so far, and I thank God every day. It just, for giving me this wonderful opportunity, to live my dream. So I try to be, enough time for Great White and enough time for my flamenco album. I can find the time when can always find the time.
Any plans for any kind of recording with either XYZ or Great White at the moment?
Great White is coming up with a new album June 1st, an album that was produced by Michael Wagner, who's produced Skid Row and who else? Extreme. He's worked with Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica. I mean, you name it. This cat has been around. So he's a wonderful producer. So Great White will have an album out June 1st, and we are currently touring. We do a lot of dates, and it's a great album. It's very bluesy, actually, very bluesy and heavy. No, I wouldn't say heavy. Don't get me wrong, not heavy metal. It's heavy blues. That's what it is. Very like Mr. Bone, that type of vibe, Rock Me or that thing. It's blues oriented. It's not a pop album. It's not, doesn't sound like something modern from today. It sounds like Great White, and we love it. As far as XYZ, at the moment, I'm not doing much with XYZ. I know the guys would love for me to do things with XYZ, but my heart and my time right now is I have to concentrate on Great White and my solo album.
The Gypsy Dreams album is coming out digitally a week from tomorrow, I believe, on April 28th, and then it's going to follow with a physical release in May?
Yes. In May 17th, physical CDs, and next Friday will be the songs will be available on iTunes. Actually, now people can pre-order the songs if they want to, the downloads. They can, and go on iTunes and you can pre-order the songs, and I hopefully a lot of people will. When you do something, when you try something new and everything, you do it for yourself. I have to be honest with you, I did it for me. I'm pleasing myself. I'm having a great time. It was a wonderful experience, and all I can do is hope and pray that other people will like what I did. Other fans will say, "Oh, that's pretty good, man." Because without the fans, well, I mean, you don't have much, I mean, you get yourself in your bedroom and your acoustic guitar. That's all you got. So, but it has to come from you first. You have to be sincere. You don't do music to please the fans. I don't go that way. I do music to please myself, and hopefully that will also please the fans. It's a different route. As of some artists, some people love to do things for other people. Yeah, I'm going to write these songs because I know that's what they want. I don't care what they want. I know what I want. That's all I care.
And it seems so far in your career that what you've wanted has been pretty much what the fans wanted.
I've been blessed. Again, Roger, every day I thank God, I thank the universe for giving me this amazing opportunity to be able to talk to you today, to be able to do interviews, to be able to, and to have people, say, "Hey man, you're pretty good," or whatever. But at least, at least I'm still doing it, and I'm enjoying doing it, by the way. It's like sex. If you have sex with your girlfriend or wife and you still enjoy it, then it's perfect. But if you don't, God damn it, it could be dreadful.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I really do think that this is an excellent album, and I hope that it goes really well for you.
Well, with your help, and yes, it will. I appreciate this opportunity, so I thank you so much, Roger.
Terry Ilous's new album, Gypsy Dreams, will be available this Friday, April 28th, via digital retailers and later in May on CD. We'll be back next week with another edition of the VVN Music Podcast. Remember that you can hear the VVN Music Podcast via iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Libsyn, and the VVN Music website. For the latest news on the veteran artists of rock, pop, soul, country, folk, and blues, go to vvnmusic.com. If you have any comments or questions about the website or this podcast, please send them to vvnetwork@gmail.com. Our theme music is performed by Yahar. This program was released on April 24th, 2017. The VVN Music Podcast is a production of the VVN Network, copyright 2017.